Hello, and welcome to Trudy Haynes and Friends. My friends include Kathy Lee, the original, and Jerome Roberts, the Philly Gator. And I'm Trudy. And we're going to be talking about something that I've been involved in. We'll learn about that as we go along. But the question is, Mama, I want to be the queen. I want to be Miss Philadelphia. I want to be Miss America. Should we or should we not have beauty pageants? And I'm not gonna charge you with that first question, Kathy, because I can see it on your face almost. No. Or do you feel that way?
Trudy, I'm going to pass it on to a person that would judge me, Jerome. And you better say I'm still beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Kathy
But
Lee, you are still beautiful,
still,
and she has been the love of my life for the last 2 years. Kathy Lee is an example of beauty as beauty matures. Much of the beauty industry is built around a white woman between 12 and about 24. And if you look at that demographic and everybody tries to compare to that demographic, you will realize that the majority of people are going to lose. I have three daughters and I have four granddaughters, and I would not let any of them come anywhere near one of these pageants. Miss Black America was a response to Miss America. And once we got a Black Miss America, Miss Black America kind of fell off to the sidelines just a wee bit. They still have that pageant, but it's not as big as it was 20, 25 years ago. But the question becomes, did Vanessa Williams change the nature of beauty in America? And my answer has to be no. It's still based on a white woman, 12 to 25, 24 years of age. And you look at the Miss America pageant, same thing. If you look at the Miss World pageant, same thing. The Miss Universe pageant, it's all built on the same principle, European standards of beauty for a woman 12 to 24. And those standards, Black women, African women are just some of the most beautiful women in the world. So I don't buy into European beauty standards.
or you want
And
a
that's
different
what
kind?
that's what the industry has been based off of.
All right.
Kathy
Do you
Lee.
want a different kind? I'm asking you. If you don't believe in the beauty pageant that we have, do you believe in beauty pageants, period?
I don't think we need them. I don't think we need them
Okay.
at all.
Okay. Now that's your vote. Miss Kathy Lee, the beauty, our beauty. How do you feel?
Well, I'm going to quote John Henry Clark, Dr. Clark. He said, if you do not like what you see in the mirror, you have a problem. And all you have to do is look and see what's happening all across social media where they're pushing like what Jerome described as ideal beauty standards. And all you have to do is even Vanessa Williams had the light eyes and the and the light skin and everything else. Yeah, our own publications, Jet and Ebony. I never saw a dark skinned woman in that, even after say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. So we fell into a belief system, a suboptimal belief system that has been crushing our young children for generations. Por
Yep.
ejemplo, and I'm not Spanish, but for example, that's for our Spanish speakers out there. Por ejemplo, I would ask the kids, "What describe your ideal wife?" Something just said, ask them that. Every time I turned around, they would say, "My wife has to be light." They would say light skinned, did it because they don't know how to say light skinned, long hair and light eyes. You ask the girls, and they would say, "Well, I want my ideal husband would be like a Puerto Rican guy, good hair and light and this." Well, what does your mother look like? Does your mother look like that? How about your father? So this is what's happening to our children. And when I saw that, I said, OMG, what is going on? What is the suboptimal belief system that is permeating through our community And how did we fall victim to that and create our own victimhood, as Jerome was talking about, in such a way that we buy other people's hair, we have all kinds of beauty products, and we even created a caste system within our own people where we are judged on the external appearance of what a person is and not who they are inside. Because that light skinned woman can slit your throat or fill a bottle, a jar with hot water while you're sleeping your black behind in bed and throw that water and ditch and scorch you to death. And that light skinned man can beat the devil out of you. And the only reason that would happen is because you would allow it because you don't love yourself. I'm going to pause there for a second.
What
You
I
know,
think is,
Kathy Lee, you're absolutely right. It is about self love. If you look at an industry that has exploded over the last 30 years, it's the bleaching cream industry. It's huge in Africa, it's huge in the Caribbean, and it's also huge in Asia, especially in Korea, where they're bleaching themselves to try to resemble the white European standard of beauty. And that's the standard of beauty that has been perpetrated around the world. That's the standard of beauty that I don't buy. I've never bought it. My mama don't look like it. My daddy don't look like it. But I'm fine. You know, not bad for an old color man. But I
so
would
if
never
women,
African,
fall into the old
African man, African
European
man.
standards of beauty.
both of you, is it that you don't agree about the word beauty pageant, or is it that you just don't like the idea per se? You just don't like the pageant idea.
For me, to be quite honest with you, is all if it's based on external how you see yourself. And if you look on
Mhm.
TikTok, the girls are doing all of these things. If you look on all the apps coming up now where you can alter your own appearance, look at what they are projecting about themselves. They are projecting that they do not love themselves unconditionally and that they must be unconditionally loved or conditionally loved. You have it affects the entire African American community, not just our community, but people all across the planet. I don't know anything about Africans using bleaching cream. I don't know. All I know is that you know we have taken on the what some people call the oppressors corroded worldview, where crept in and self hatred, the alienation, and that all started with Willie Lynch. You know how to put your lighter skinned slaves against your whiter skin, your darker skinned enslaved people, and treat them differently. In other words, they created a caste system that we have fallen victim to. So when I look at beauty pageants, and full disclosure, my uncle got me to participate in one. I did become the Miss Educational Growth Queen, and if educational growth wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But he said, Kathy, go ahead and do it. I did win. Okay, I won. And then I was nominated for the ROTC and I
Ah,
won that. So go
uh-huh.
ahead, Jerome.
Okay. Okay. You did it anyway, right? Was it based on beauty, or what was the reason to
Well,
win?
it was education and one was ROTC, Reserves Officers Training Corps. I didn't do anything like walk down the pageants and have my mother slap makeup on my face and make a 5 year old look like a 30-year-old. It's still
Okay.
I'm still not for it. I just the values and beliefs of it are just so superficial to me.
Well, as I've told both of you as before, I was a judge for 3 years for the Miss America pageant. In fact, two of the girls that I voted on and tested became Miss America one of those years that I was a judge.
Were they
And I
white or
think I was
black?
the first. They were only white. They were only white in the pageants. They were only white in the pageants. Vanessa Williams hadn't come along yet. Okay, but I was asked to be a judge, and in those days, it was called a beauty pageant, yes, and they had to look something. But those girls had a rough time, and if they wanted to get into it, so be it. It's a shame that it wasn't open to everyone. But even those women, those young girls that got into it, had a tough time competing against each other for this beauty, because it wasn't just how they looked, how they acted. It was finally how they presented themselves. They had to go through a whole week of testing and presenting themselves to the judges, and there were usually about 10 to 12 of us to judge them day after day. They had to go through a performance competition, singing or dancing or twirling a doggone baton and doing all kinds of things. And then they had to present. I'm sorry.
Oh,
They
boo
had.
hoo hoo. Boo
Wait a
hoo
minute. I haven't
hoo.
finished. Now I let you finish, Kathy.
Go ahead, finish.
And they also had to present something that they were doing in their communities of goodwill. And their prizes included scholarships for their education. Now, if 50 girls out of all the white women that existed in the countries wanted to participate in a beauty contest, only 50 of them could participate and only one could win. Is it the term that it was a beauty contest? Suppose it was a performance contest. Half of them couldn't sing and couldn't dance, but they tried in order to meet that criteria. So if you wanted to get into a beauty contest, what is the harm? Are you thinking of the other girls who couldn't or wouldn't or didn't?
Well, I think we
Miss
need to answer
Trudy,
that after this break.
Miss Trudy, I don't
Yes.
think the harm caused by the women who are competing. The harm is caused by the projection into society. Is that it's that something that we should aspire to. If we are to be quote unquote beautiful, and beauty is described by the Miss America pageant or the Miss Philadelphia pageant or the Miss Pennsylvania pageant. You know, yes, there are 50 contestants in the Miss America pageant, but there are 50 different states that run these pageants, as well as a small community that run these pageants. So we're talking about the projection of an image. And the image doesn't just go to Miss America on the national level, even at the local level, you have women competing and trying to project at that level. And they're all trying to aspire to the optimal recognition of what we call American beauty. And if the optimization of American beauty is a white woman 23, 24 years old, I'm not buying it.
Well, for me, beauty pageants keep you looking outside of yourself for validation and self worth and self esteem. And I don't think that that is a healthy way for us to look at ourselves. I don't know about the Western culture. You know, I don't live within that kind of a family. All I can speak of is within our own African communities. Because when I think of beauty pageants and everything, we weren't. I'm just let's just kick it up a notch here. Let's take it out of the box. Let's look at the
Okay, tell you
hypersexualization
what we'll
of
do.
black
Hold on,
women.
Kathy.
No, 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 no,
Kathy,
no, no. No,
wait a
no,
minute.
no.
Hold
Let's
your
look at
point.
and the ungendering of black
Hold your
women
point, Kathy.
and
We're going to come right back and we'll pick it up right there. Don't
okay,
you,
okay.
though? We're back with Trudy and Friends and the discussion about should we or shouldn't we have or continue beauty pageants and how you feel about it. And Kathy, you had the floor when we left out, so carry on, girl.
Okay, thank you. I just want to preface my remarks by saying the beauty pageants that you were a judge in that only had European women, women of European beauty, particularly Caucasian
Wrong,
women. Oh, okay.
wrong.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you
No,
said there were no blacks in the
no, no,
pageants that
no,
you
no,
judged.
no black.
Okay,
No.
so the reason for
At that
that.
time.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to take it from that point there. The reason why there
Okay.
weren't any of us present is because of the ungendering, the historical sexualization, and the roots of fetishization of black women in this country. We were
Mm-hmm.
not even seen as human. We were just sexual objects. They actually hired other masters to bring in their own huge African man and watched them sleep with their property. They bred
Uh-huh.
them like cattle. That's why I don't even like the word chattel or cattle slavery, because that's what it was. So when you're
Hmm.
dealing with this type of stuff, in New Orleans, women couldn't even wrap their heads. They couldn't do anything to look attractive. That's where you got the little cotton bandanas. They dressed us down in potato sacks, everything to make us not look attractive to the men, but we were still there. And let's talk about the African American man or the African man in this country. Same thing. He's all hypersexualized. He's a threat. Oh my God, the biggest monster threat, the biggest monster is not Frankenstein. It's a tall black man walking down the street naked or with fully clothed in a white neighborhood full of young white girls. And you can't touch him
Okay.
because you'll excite him and he'll get hard. That's the ultimate horror flick and horror story in America. And that has always been what's been happening in
We have,
America.
but Kathy, we have a horror story in anything we do. There is a horror story behind us and in front of us still. That does not take away from the fact that there are many of us who want to imitate. For instance, we are now setting the styles for men and women to wear. We set the styles for that. We set the uh, ability to be strong and to be resilient. And there's so many things that we do that they want to copy but are afraid to copy. I don't see how the beauty contest, and I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, the beauty contest affects that because there were some pluses that somebody somewhere being black wanted to obtain and wanted to be like, even though we have struggled up to that point as slaves. So is it the what I'm trying to find out, is it the concept? Because we still strive as enslaved that we may be, we still strive to do things that they do and wear things that they wear and talk like they talk. I just wish they would just get educated like they do for most of us.
Okay. And again,
But
this
is it
goes
the thing
back
that you're objecting to? Is it the term beauty or the
all of it,
attainability to
all of
do
it,
that?
all of it. I'm objecting to all of it, all of
Okay,
it, because it is
so
not something that it's I object to all of it.
okay,
You
and
know,
Jerome.
what the issue is, do we want to emulate the people who enslaved us? Do we want to emulate their actions in the way they characterize beauty? You know, and Kathy Lee is right. Black women have been over sexualized in our country, and the reason it was done was to perpetuate slavery, was to have more black babies, and those babies would be slaves, and you have a richer America. Well, we don't need that in the 21st century. You know, America is already
No,
the richest country in the world, and one of their biggest exports is media. One of the biggest media exports is how we perceive beauty in America. You know, hip hop has been exported all over the world, and the image in hip hop of black women with big butts and light skin has gone all over the world. You know, we don't need to promulgate that stuff under the name of these are the most beautiful women in the black community,
because they
the ones
don't
who are
under that,
dancing with you.
And then call him a
unfortunately.
bitch, and then call him my bitch. Come on
Right,
now, come on, come on,
right.
come on, come on.
You know, so
Holla
the
back with
standards
that.
of beauty must change. You know, and Miss Trudy, you had a beauty school at one time many, many years ago, did you not?
Yes, I did, and and girls
And what,
flocked to
what,
it,
what
but I wasn't the only one that had it. There were other girls and other teachers around here in Philadelphia who wanted to teach those same, what do you call them, characteristics of being, I don't want to say beautiful, but of being, I don't know what. But anyway, those things attracted these girls.
And how
So
many
what do
dark
you
skinned
give them?
girls were
What do you
admitted
give
to your
them?
place?
How many were what?
How many dark skinned girls were admitted to your schools? How many were admitted? From
Were
the ones
admitted?
I always saw,
I
they were
admitted
always light.
all of them,
They were
whoever.
always light. The ones I saw, always light.
Well,
Jet,
that isn't
always
fair
light.
because I had many dark-skinned girls in my
Oh, I'm
in
not.
my
I'm not. I'm not.
school.
I'm not blaming you. But see, now we're talking about
No, you don't have to defend me
gradation.
either.
I'm
I
not
didn't
defending
have
you.
them.
We're talking about gradation now because what's light skinned to someone else might not be light skinned to somebody else. Who's
But
dark
the
might not be
ones,
dark.
all
It's
right,
all about
whoever it is too,
perceptions.
there are still
It's all
women
about
out there who
perceptions.
emulate white standards. They buy their hair, they put on their makeup, they put on their clothes. I mean, there are still women who want to be what called is, I guess, beautiful. I don't know another term for it. But there are
Well,
those who want to be educated. And I wish there were more of those, whatever their color.
well, all I
You
can tell
know,
you. Go ahead.
one of the issues is what we use as the standard of beauty. You know, we look at beauty in America as an external thing. You know, the characteristics of beauty in the Bible are all internal. Do they have compassion? Do they have love for their neighbor? You know, do
Now
they
you're
have
talking
respect for the
business.
environment? Those are the things that would
Now
make a
you're
person
talking
beautiful.
business. I think it's just the word, the connotation, because we copy everything. We wear now eyelashes that we never use. Somebody just got after me, not just, but has often said to me, "Why don't you wear eyebrows?" Why? I don't want them. They're too much trouble to put on, and lashes. But that doesn't apply to all these women. All of them wearing eyelashes till they can't even put on glasses because they bump into it. The hair. I have some wigs. Other women have wigs because they want to look different or look better. Something that's attributed to beauty. They want to be attractive. So if that's the road to being also intelligent, then let it be.
Well, Trudy, all I can say is this, and I don't know how to sum it up, but
You summed it up
look at.
well. That's your
Okay,
opinion.
well, I'm thinking about the suicides of teenagers and of all ethnicities. They are killing themselves. I'm watching them walking around with phones. I'm watching them
But the
being bullied
beauty
with the social
contests aren't
media,
the
the
answer
beauty
to
contests.
eliminate
The,
those.
the
Maybe
okay,
changing the
okay,
word
well,
beauty.
okay, well, you know
Maybe the
what? You
word
can
beauty
you can
is a misnomer.
Well, like I said, they teach you to look outside of yourself and they teach you to judge. And if you want to talk about biblical stuff, judge, lest ye be judged. So if you're walking around judging somebody else, you can quote all of that scripture and stuff to me if you want to. And you can
But I
say,
think the
there it is,
girls
there it is,
today
there it is.
are past
But
that
it's time
now.
to stop judging. It's time to stop judging people on their outward appearance. It's time to, in my opinion, it is. And I and when it's a closed a system in all aspects and just appreciate the beauty of life all around you. See, everyone is beautiful. it's
That's
it's, it's all about
a
perceptions.
global
and
force.
and my final
And a,
words are this: look beyond appearances. There's something there to see. Look beyond appearances. Do it and you will see me, the spirit. The total truth penetrates the surface. You only want
but,
what's real.
yeah,
For total truth penetrate the surface. Seek knowing by the feel. You can have eternal life. In fact, you already do. You can have eternal life. Choose it and it chooses you.
but sometimes you have to put it somewhere so people can see it. Jerome, what are your thoughts?
It's called a mirror.
You know, the mirror is the issue. When I look in the mirror, I see a big nose and a dark skin, and I love it
I
because
do too,
the
Jerome.
things that are important to me are the things that Martin Luther King talked about. It's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your character. And we don't talk about beauty as a character issue. And as
I,
soon as we
I
start talking
started off
about
with
beauty
that
as a
because of
character
the
issue,
word
then I'll get on board with the whole
connotation.
standards of beauties in America. Because it's not about the color of your skin. It's not about how light your eyes are, how light your skin is. It's about the content of your character.
And
And
what
that's my
you
final word.
know
It's
and
about
think
the content
about.
of your
Yes,
character,
you're right.
the things you can't see.
Okay,
And
we got
Trudy,
an
if you want
hour
to
and
do a
20
Miss
minutes.
Universe contest, look at all the different species out there you'll have to judge. We don't even have a Miss Universe contest because all the species from around the universe don't get to participate.
but they all got beauty contests. All just about every country has a beauty contest.
I'm
But I
talking
don't
about
care
off this
about the
planet.
word.
I'm talking about
I
off
don't
this
care about
planet.
the word. I care about who you are and what you want to do with your life. And we're going to have to do with our show is to ask you to join us next time and have a good one. In the meantime, take care.
I don't want to take care. I want to keep this conversation going, Trudy, because this
Okay,
is just,
we're going to get together.
it's just affecting our babies. It's affecting our young girls. They don't even like who they are, and they walk around with. I mean, it's just madness.
The
It
one
just
thing that
is.
you
You
have
know, I
stressed is
have
what
four
I
granddaughters, and I observe how they handle this situation.
well, so
And
you don't
sometimes
pay attention
my
to
heart
neither one
bleeds
of
for
you
them.
pay any attention to beauty contest. If there are 50 girls that want to get into it, let them.
Every
Right?
iPhone is a beauty contest. Every TikTok is a beauty contest.
Well, that's not
It's,
because of beauty contests,
Every
honey. They want to look
Instagram
good for
is a
you
beauty
and you.
contest.
You're making it a beauty contest. The girls want to look good. That's all. They want to be appealing. They want to make people say goodbye.
they want to make
Bye.
people. They
The
don't want to
next week.
say what's in themselves. You just put it outside of them, not inside of them, Trudy. Your final
Correct.
remarks was in looking externally and not internally at the beauty
I
within.
have stressed education as long as I've been on this
Education
show,
don't mean
sweetheart.
jack.
Oh, yes, it does. It means a lot. And
A
we'll
beauty
get into that
contest does not make
conversation.
you educated. It just doesn't make
I
you
didn't get
educated.
into a beauty contest. So now, if that's your personal thought about me, then it's been a long time
No,
coming.
I don't have a personal thought about you judging a beauty contest. I forgot. In fact, I went with you and filmed one, Miss America. So it's just
You've long
I'm just
said
looking at
goodbye,
I'm
and I'll
just
see you next
oh
week.
sure
Okay,
did.
baby. Yes, cut.
Thank you, Miss Judy. You're beautiful, darling.
I love you.